that he's not been hit on the chin. Dillian Whyte can whack, and he's in great shape. And I think that Dillian's going to take this fight and go in there and go, you know what? He's going to roll the dice and punch when, you know, Moses does. And I think that is the importance here. Dillian's got to take the chance.
I think it might be too soon for Moses. I think Moses is on a great run. I think Dillian, you know, if he had more momentum, it would be, I could probably stamp my authority on the decision a bit more.
For Moses, is he ready for this level? Can he take a shot? What's he like when the going gets tough? Is he overrated?
Boxing insiders are cautioning Moses Itauma about stepping into the ring with Dillian Whyte, stressing that this matchup carries serious risk given Whyte's knockout power and vast experience. Derek Chisora has openly voiced his surprise at Whyte's choice to face Itauma now, pointing out that the young prospect is still learning and hasn't yet proven himself at this elite level. Many believe Itauma would benefit from gaining more rounds and sharpening his skills before taking on such a dangerous, battle-tested opponent, warning that rushing into this fight could jeopardize his momentum and long-term career trajectory.
I had a phone call a couple of weeks ago. They offered me to fight Moses Itauma in Saudi. You know, I said, how much? He said, 2 million. I said, nah. I even phoned Dylan. I was like, Dylan, I don't know why you're taking this fight, you know, because this kid is on fire right now. And he's getting better and better. It's not like he's going backwards, he's going forward.
One of the reasons he is taking it is that Moses is WBO #1 at the moment, so that there's some kind of light at the end of the tunnel for Dillian taking that fight.
Ain't no light at that tunnel.
I agree with you. I think I don't think Dillian gets beyond 4 or 5 rounds.
You're crazy. There's no light at that tunnel. That kid is, no, you mad. No way. Even Lawrence Okoli said, Moses is bad.
Dean Whyte has spoken candidly about the timing of this fight, voicing concerns that Dillian Whyte might be too big a challenge for Moses Itauma at this stage. While he acknowledges Moses' talent, discipline, and impressive rise, he emphasizes that boxing isn't just about skill, it's about the wisdom and adaptability that come from years in the ring. Dean warns that taking on such a seasoned and ruthless opponent so early could stunt Moses' growth. Noting that Whyte has survived the sport's toughest battles, he urges the young fighters team to weigh the risks carefully before stepping into a high-pressure war with someone who's been there and thrived.
He's a new kid on the block, the kid with the thunder, big punch in southpaw. He's predicted to be the leading boy of the heavyweight division. So, I mean, look, it's a crossroads fight. Obviously, as if you look at it, they're saying they're hoping that the baton will be passed from him beating Dillian. I think Dillian's got other ideas, and Dillian's a man that's never should be written off. I think it might be too soon for Moses. I think Moses is on a great run. I think Dillian, you know, if he had more momentum, it would be, I could probably stamp my authority on the decision a bit more. But still, Dillian's pressing, he's working hard. And if Dillian's up for it, that experience, you know, is going to play a pivotal role in that fight.
Moses Itauma speaks with unwavering confidence about his fight preparations, revealing that he's pushing himself relentlessly alongside his coaches to be in the best condition of his life. Every training session, he says, is deliberately designed to sharpen his reflexes, increase his endurance, and perfect his game plan. While some in his circle quietly worry about the scale of the challenge ahead, Moses brushes off those doubts, insisting no one else truly knows his limits. He's determined to trust his own strength, mental toughness, and ability to handle the moment, ready to prove he belongs in the ring. With one of boxing's most dangerous veterans,
there's nothing to kind of deal with, because it's like the only thing you can do is either get angry or ignore it. So I choose to keep in control of my emotions. So I just kind of ignore it. Like, I'm just only on my own path. Everybody's got their own journey. Everybody's got their own thing. But like, I'm not trying to compare anything.
Yeah.
And we was just talking about it with my coaches yesterday. It's like, you know, a lot of people put pressure because they're too worried about the outcome. I'm not worried about the outcome. I'm worried about the game plan. And then the game plan leads to the outcome. So I don't think of things that I can't control. Your opinions I can't control. Like, for example, like if I go to bed today, I wake up tomorrow morning, I still got to play the Moses Itauma role.
Yeah.
So my feelings and my feelings and opinions of myself can't be based on what someone else thinks of me, because you don't have to play the Moses Itauma role 24/7. I do. So I just choose to ignore him.
Dillian Whyte, right? I mean, I think it surprised a few when he got announced. It was like, okay. And all of a sudden people were like, this is an interesting fight. Old Lion versus young Lion. What do you make of Dillian Whyte and where he is now in his career?
I think I might be boxing the best Dillian Whyte there is, because, you know, this is his last chance. So I just got to kind of stop him from coming back into the division. To be honest, for a long time,
Dillian Whyte has fired a direct warning to Moses Itauma: underestimate him at your peril. He makes it clear that his grit, seasoned instincts, and hardened mentality can't be matched by youthful talent alone. Drawing on years of high-stakes bouts, Whyte says the difference between them isn't just in elites, in the scars and experience that come from surviving wars in the ring. With a point to prove and critics to silence, he promises to bring relentless pressure and dangerous intent, ensuring Moses faces an opponent who refuses to take a step back.
I ain't frustrated the media, I was frustrated people talking shit, and then when they come and see him in shape and different mindset, then they start changing their minds and opinion. I'm like, yo, I have the same energy, bro. I have the same energy. When I'm 180, 120 kilos, I have the same energy, because now I'm light and I look like I'm in shape. Then now everybody's like, oh, yeah. I'm like, yo, come on, man. You know, I don't need to be 100% to win some fights, because I'm a fighter. I know what to fight. He's had more amateur fights than me and all of this other you know. He's doing what he's meant to know. And one thing is, he's got the what's the word I'm looking for? The ignorance of inexperience. You know, I didn't say it right, but I'm tired. Yeah. Ignorance of youth or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm not a chump, bro. You know, I'm not a chump. You know, obviously people writing me up, but I'm not a chump. So this will happen Saturday.
Dillian, one word. What can we expect on Saturday night?
What I always bring, man. I always bring that. With me, there's always that unpredictability in the ring, you know what I mean?
One of Dillian Whyte's closest training partners has lifted the lid on his preparation, describing the heavyweight as looking sharper, stronger, and more focused than he has in years. He says Whyte's punches are carrying punishing power. His footwork is crisp, and his stamina and sparring has been outstanding. More than anything, his mindset seems locked in taking this fight deadly seriously. The partner warns that if this version of Dillian turns up on fight night, Moses Itauma will have to dig deeper than ever before to survive.
I sparred Dillian the last time when he fought against Fury, and he developed very good. Like, he's in good shape for his upcoming fight against Itauma. I think he's in great shape.
Respected analysts are praising Moses Itauma's maturity, both inside and outside the ropes, noting his clean fundamentals, composure, and wealth of amateur and sparring experience. But they also highlight that this fight is a giant leap in computation against a man who's gone toe-to-toe with champions and survived the sport's harshest tests. This step-up won't just challenge Moses' technical skills. It will demand the kind of mental fortitude that only comes under the brightest lights against a veteran who knows how to exploit every opening.
You know, Itauma only had about 20 or so amateur fights. He has done a lot of sparring, but again, sparring is behind closed doors. You're in an environment that you feel comfy in. You're away from the scrutiny of the camera. You're not allowed, strictly speaking, you're not really allowed, and most gyms won't allow you to record a spar. They might show you a glimpse of footage, but you're talking 5 seconds, maybe, if even. So he's been kind of away in his own comfort zone. He's fought on big shows. As co-main event, I believe him against McKeon was co-main event on Fury USAC 2. But again, he's going in as the firm favourite against the fighter he's expected to beat. And he's the bridesmaid, right? He's fought in the he's fought in the York Hall a couple of times. He's fought low down the card. You know, Itauma's always been that guy. You know, he can learn his craft. He's not strictly, you know, the eyes of the world are on you, etc. Getting bigger, and, you know, more people are talking about him, but still, you know, comfy at his own pace. Now his first headline. Bear in mind, Joshua's first headline, I believe, was at the O2 against Gary Cornish. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but I know he headlined that night. And this is his first headline, a pay-per-view in Saudi Arabia against Dillian Whyte, and all the media work that comes with it. You did a face-off on Monday. You had the grand arrivals yesterday. You're doing the public workout today. You're doing the press conference tomorrow. You're doing the weigh-in tomorrow, or you're doing the weigh-in on Friday. Now you're doing fight night on Saturday. You'll have a press conference most likely after. Lots going on. Lots going on for a young man at 20. How is he caking all that? And that's what I'm wondering. It really, again, you know, you compare him to maybe someone like an Anthony Joshua, and it's like, well, AJ had, you know, all this experience in the amateurs. He had, you know, the Sky, you know, machine behind him and stuff like that, but he was a lot older than Itauma. Again, how old would AJ have been mid to late 20s? 25, 26, thereabouts. So old enough to be, a bit more sturdy in that. Does have me wondering with Itauma. It is a wonder. But personally, I think Itauma, when I look at him, I think that there's something there with this kid. I think he's got an old head on young shoulders. I think that this is the first, look, it's his first time headliner. It's the first pay-per-view. Probably will be jitters.
Some commentators are framing this clash as a career crossroads for Dillian Whyte, possibly his last stand at the elite level. If he loses to a young, rising force like Moses Itauma, it could spell the end of his run among boxing's top names. That's why they see him as more dangerous than ever, fighting with desperation, pride, and the determination to reclaim his place in the division. This high-stakes setting could drive Whyte to unleash one of the most intense and aggressive performances of his career.
I know, relax. Moses has been performing under the bright lights, but what I'm saying is, it's still so early and he's got a lot to prove. Up until this point, I can't argue. He's passed every test with flying colours, but the problem is, he's passed so easily. He's missed out on valuable lessons along the way, and he's now got a very experienced veteran in front of him in Dillian Whyte, who's been at world level. Everybody's written Dillian off, but recently, seeing interviews and seeing training footage, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I've got to be honest, my mind's starting to shift. Let's take a look and discuss the key takeaways.
I don't think I've ever seen you be this big an underdog in a fight. You are like 1-14.
Dev asked Dillian, how does he feel being the underdog?
And that's what makes you dangerous. As an underdog, you're underneath. You get up at them testicles and lock onto them, and it's game over.
It's crazy really, because like I said, he's fought at world level, fighting the likes of Povetkin, Fury, Chisora, AJ, Parker, the list goes on. But in sports, you're only as good as your last performance. In Dillian's last fight, he looked terrible, putting it politely.
Has he put something in you? Because like your last few fights, Ebenezer instilled a fear, not...
No man has put anything in me. Pause this.
Dillian does make me laugh. Dark humour. But maybe that says more about me. He says it the way it is. There's no sugar coating. Dev says, is this the biggest risk he's took in his career? Which again is madness.
All of them has been massive, because you think no one's ever had me as the favourite. Think of one fight that was the favourite. Just think.
Dylan's right. He's always the underdog. It's nothing new.
How do you reflect on your fight with Tete?
It was what it was. Listen, I've been walking the long, lonely, dark road for 3 years.
This is the thing. People forget that fighters go through things outside of the ring which affect the performance, but us fans only judge the performance. At the end of the day, fighters are human, they're not robots.
Then that fight for me was, ask myself a question, can I take a good whack and push through? Can I force myself to put the jabs in? Can I...
He admits he wasn't in great shape, but that fight for him was about dipping his foot in the water and seeing if he still got it and still wants it.
I had a few injuries and stuff going into the fight, but it is what it was. But that fight reignited that in me.
A TalkSport analyst has given an intriguing take on the fight, noting that while Dillian Whyte hasn't looked his best in recent years, there's something noticeably different this time, from his leaner physique to the increased sharpness in his training sessions. The signs suggest he's dialed in like never before. This version of Whyte could surprise those expecting him to fade, turning what many predicted as a showcase for Moses into a battle for the ages.
We've not really seen him, and that's where his weakness could be.
Of course. I mean, if you try to go out there and blast him out, you're playing into his hands, because he's young, he's fast, and he can punch. So sometimes you gotta walk him down.
You've been part of the Dillian Whyte team now. Dillian Whyte joined you, right? He left Mark Tibbs and said, "Okay, I need Buddy McGirt." You've been part of the team for a while. Do you have any say on the opponent? Now, does he come to you, for example, and say, "Look, okay, this is what we want to do," and then you can kind of give him guidance, or is it a case of, "This is the opponent. Get me ready for this opponent, buddy"?
Well, it's like this. In a situation like this, when they come to you, he said to me, "Listen, buddy, this is what they're putting on the table for me." I said, "So what do you want to do?" I mean, I don't want to say, "Yeah," and you're not feeling it. I want to see what you're feeling. And he goes, "I got to go for it." So, all right, let's go. We're a team. So if that's what we got to do, that's what we got to do. I mean, if we got to go through this hailstorm to get to the other side of the we got to do what we got to do.
Buddy, I saw something the other day, and I don't believe you. I want to pull you up on it. I think I saw that you said you haven't seen Moses box before, and you don't watch your opponent's box. But I don't believe you, buddy. I don't believe you.
I swear to you. I will not lie to you.
Boxing pundit Aid Oladipo has been closely tracking Dillian Whyte's transformation, seeing not just a fighter in better physical shape, but one who's mentally recharged, shedding excess weight, regaining fluid movement, and bringing back the aggression that once made him a feared contender. Whyte appears to be rediscovering his prime form. Aid believes this renewed hunger could push Moses into untested territory, forcing the young challenger to find answers he's never had to search for before. And if Whyte wins, it would send shockwaves through the heavyweight division, instantly restoring his status as a dangerous force.
All of a sudden, people have seen the shape that I saw a video, which I'm guessing you guys have seen as well, of Dillian Whyte hitting the heavy bag and doing a bit of shadow boxing. He looked incredible. Dillian Whyte, me and G-Man did the look back, didn't we? Dillian Whyte versus Chisora. And Dillian Whyte looked in incredible shape there. And I was thinking, if he can get close to that, he's close to that. He's close to that. Dillian Whyte in his last few fights has been around the 260 mark. I think it might have even been heavy for a couple. I think he looks low 250s. And all I can ask from a fighter, this is why I get so pissed off with Martin Bakole, just get in shape. Like, skill. You're not going to change a fighter from fucking where you are to Muhammad Ali. I'm not asking for that. Just get in shape. Dillian Whyte has ticked that box. And he's like, okay, if you think I'm going over to Saudi Arabia just to get smoked by this 20-year-old, we'll see. That's what I'm taking from the shape I'm seeing him in, because he looks incredible. And also, when he's firing out his jab in that little shadow boxing, his arms are so long. Like, Dillian Whyte, compared to his body structure, he has overly long arms. What I'm getting at is that Dillian Whyte can box a bit as well, you know. He's not just a brawler. Like, he's been tagged as this brawler. He can box a little bit. Is he a better boxer than Moses? No. But that jab could be key. Jab's always key, right? We always talk about it. But one thing I see with Dillian Whyte being in this shape is that he's saying, if I can take this young boy past 6, we're going to go into deep waters that this young boy's never been before. And it's all well and good Moses saying, I'm sparring 10 rounds, I'm sparring 12 rounds. And, I was on TalkSport when he mentioned this yesterday. Fighting 10 rounds is different. Fighting 12 rounds is different. Dillian Whyte's done that. And look, sometimes Dillian Whyte's blown out of his ass. Sometimes Dillian Whyte's been beat in those 12-round fights. But Dillian Whyte has done that. There's a difference. And Dillian Whyte, for me, looks like a guy that's in shape to go the distance, or to at least ask questions of this young pup.
Dillian Whyte is framing this fight as a reality check for those who believe hype beats experience. He knows the talk surrounding Moses Itauma's potential, but he also knows the cold truths at the highest level. Skill means little without the grit to endure the deep waters of a 12-round war. Training footage shows Whyte throwing with venom, moving with intent, and wearing the kind of condition that recalls his most dominant victories. For him, this fight is a chance to prove he still belongs among the sport's elite, and he's prepared to make that statement the hard way.
That since late 18, right? I remember him knocking out Lucas Brown. When he knocked out Lucas Brown, he looked like he was in the best shape of his life. He looks similar or better now, which is very impressive. And I think, like Terrence Crawford, people are now looking at Dillian Whyte. Seeing is believing. When we see results, we start believing in those results. I think now people understand that Dillian Whyte has taken this very seriously. He's been out of the ring for a long time. His last 2 opponents quit. Teta and Hammer, they both quit. And I think that Dillian, this is his last hurrah. If it's his last hurrah, if it's his last time to shine, he has nothing to lose. Why not go out with a bang? Why not go in the best shape possible? Why not do what you're supposed to do in training camp? Okay, because you can't really predict what happens in that ring except you and that other guy. It's up to you or that other guy. But in training camp, you have a team around you. You have determination. You have motivation. You have discipline, more than likely. Okay. And I think that Dillian Whyte is looking great, bro. He is looking great. He doesn't have the unbalanced body type like you normally see him. He's too big upper body, legs are small. You know what I mean? He's all off balance because of the imbalance of his body. But I do think that Dillian Whyte will come in to make a splash, and this is how you're supposed to look if you intend on doing it. I love the way he looks. He looks great. He looks in shape. He looks like he's ready for a battle. That's what it's about.
Share your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe for more like this. Stay tuned.